Good evening, viewers, and welcome to Ubuntu channel. This is your viewpoint, and I welcome you, all of you, to come and we want to hear your comments on the issues that we have tonight, which we hope to discuss with you. And please, before I go any further, allow me to apologize for not being on camera. This is to some circumstances beyond my control. But however, what is important is I'm with you this evening. Without wasting much of your time, I'm not alone in the studio. I'm with my colleague, Wom Kelebai. Wom Kelebai, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Wohimba Muchwani. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you, Wom Kelebai.
Where is Mr. Chaza today?
Oh yes, I'm still coming to that. Let me also inform our viewers that Chaza will be joining us very soon. He's running late, but he'll be with us shortly.
Okay.
Without wasting much of our viewers' time, can you please go to the first stories? Our producer, please.
The police have gunned down one more killer dog, bringing to 4 the number of those dead. But 6 more dogs remain on the loose, and they roam the farm and areas around it. 10 canines, mixed breed, viciously attacked the 13-year-old daughter of a farm worker in Lusaka West. The fact that 6 dogs remain on the loose is unsettling. However, police spokesperson Ray Hamonga has updated the matter, with now a charge slapped on the owner of the dogs, Xi Yamin, a Chinese national.
From the time of the incident, our officers have been on the ground to ensure that there's law and order, because we also had an incident where members of the public went to loot the house of the accused person, who still remains in our custody. We have so far charged him with the offense of reckless and neglect act. We are continuing to hold him in custody, but he's going to appear in court soon.
The victim's grandfather is broken.
Once musunga yimba pa farm, zinkala muwaya. Musunga yimba paja zienda munga ni ng'ombe. No. Ine mfiti nga yimbwa ni valira itamuza segura yimbwa. So yimbwa kati yimbwa zinde everywhere. Ni problem. So please, the people government yangali po maningi. Sinabule nkondo, but wa polisi wali pano wayangana. Ndiye mawe yanga ameneyo sifuna vyongo pa madiro yatu tilile bwino. Mulungu mwabwera akutanize naimwe mwabwera pano. Mawe ni yanga ameneyo kwa sira.
Postmortem has already been conducted on the girl's remains, and she has since been buried. Penelope Sikazwe, ZNBC News, Lusaka.
Are you back?
Yes, Imba, good evening. How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you. It's nice to have you on the program.
Thank you so much. And it's good that you have been there covering me up. And I'm just trying to figure out how I can get on picture. I'll definitely get to join in picture also.
Oh, okay, thank you so much. Wom Kelebai, as you are waiting for Chaza, there comes a very sad story. Very emotional, very disappointing. What is your take on that story, Mr. Mkelebai?
That's quite sad. Killing the dogs will never bring the girls' lives back. And the only thing, of course, someone has to be held accountable. And someone, in this case, is the owner of the dog that ought to have leashed the dogs, not to unleash them, or to secure the dogs. So I believe that the authorities have stepped in vigorously, and we have seen also the death of those other dogs that they killed. But the question is that a solution? Because of course, animals also do have rights, but I'm not saying animals' rights supersedes the right of a human being. The girl's life was more important. Human life is more important than animals. So I believe that the owners is going to face the right charges, and is going to compensate the family for loss of life and life expectation as a result of having not secured the animals. So in this aspect, I find also the owners of the animals to be liable. And this is what everyone should take a lesson from this, that when you are keeping have some domestic animals that are vicious and danger to the public, it is imperative that you secure them during daytime, and of course unleash them during nighttime where you want to protect your properties. So I think in that aspect, people will learn one or two things, but that does not mean uh, the owners of the animals will be exonerated from being liable if those animals that are under his or her care uh, injures or cause death to a human being. They will be held liable, and they should not feel ashamed or unfortunate, but that's how it is. That's how the law works. Someone has to be liable, someone has to pay as a result of not doing what is required of doing. It's these little things that will make you pay a lot of money or even go to jail if you tend to give it a blind eye. So in that aspect, really, I sympathize. My condolences to the family. The loss of a child is not something that a parent would take it easy. And we just wish that the family of the deceased are going to be looked after and consoled by the government and those who are involved, and even well wishers. This is the time to give them moral support, moral and material support, because you don't know how it feels to lose a child, and to lose a child as a result of animals that are left, that are unleashed to go to everywhere. So to me, that is so sad, and the law must take its own course on this one, and there's no shortcuts about this. It is a straightforward case. Thank you.
Um, Thank you so much, Mkelebai. Inene sungu mwachilala ndaba Mkelebai hapa. I think I can't even use it because namwishiba sometimes if we just have to express ourselves how we feel and how we see it right. Mkelebai, it's first before I even proceed, allow me to pass my condolences to the family of the bereaved, where this girl belongs. Mkelebai, if you remember, this is the second story we've had on Ubuntu where a child has been lost. Remember the other one we had where the father has to battle with a dog over a baby. But for the other story, it was the dog within the farm. But this one, it's another dog. It's a dog that comes from somewhere. But my concern is, now ndati nabepa yapwembwa shinga shiri form, then shimbi shishiri on the run. So how many dogs was this person keeping? And what does the law say? I'm not to understand that the Zambian law has a number that one is allowed to keep, the number of dogs they're allowed to keep. So if they've already kept, yeah?
Actually, you can own as many animals as you wish to own as an individual. The law does not limit you from owning animals,
No, no,
you
Rom
know,
Keleba.
and
There's
especially
a guideline.
domesticated animals, but you have to secure those animals.
No,
Unfortunately,
I
okay,
think, Chaga, do me a favor. Find out from what the local authority says. I think there's some, there's a promise of some law. I'm having a similar problem. There's there's something that the government says when you're
okay,
keeping a dog. I think there's manyumba ngatia vilolo ya tatu in a residential, I don't know kuma farm. And those they should not be able to go into other houses. They should be able to remain with you in your premises, you who's keeping the dog. Because if home Canada you want a dog as a pet at your home, I don't want it. So you can't impose it on me. So basically, there's some guidelines under that how these dogs should be looked after. But however, this is a sad situation. A 13-year-old child, very innocent, to be killed like a criminal by dogs, you know. So even if they kill the dogs, as Om Kelebai has said, it won't bring back the girl's life. Already, there's a big loss in that family. So Ababa Sungembwe Shingi, and it's the reporter even said very vicious dogs. Why will you keep very vicious dogs more than 5? What are they for? You know, and for these dogs, and then you let them, they are loitering around the community. Then what is your objective? What do you want to achieve at the end of the day?
yeah.
Which means that you want.
Unfortunately, you know, we live in a society where we have to protect our properties, and especially when there's a lot of theft among our areas, our properties, we tend to find other alternatives on how to protect. And dogs have proven to be one of the best uh, 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 deterrent of making to detect crimes, especially in our properties. Unfortunately, if you, as the owner of the dogs that you're keeping, and those dogs are vicious, because dogs are domesticated and are trained, and if you train those dogs to be vicious, they will be vicious. But unfortunately, if you unleash, you don't secure the dogs as an owner, those dogs, in their own capacity, they have no clue. They will attack anything they'll see foreign, not related to them. So
I don't.
I find it a little bit strange for the owner that decided, knowing very well that their dogs are vicious, but they choose to leave their dogs, to unleash their dogs to go everywhere, and look at the results. Now there's a loss of human life. So the
Well,
owner really in this case is 100% liable, not the dogs. The owner of the dogs are
you
the
know,
ones that are responsible for the loss of life, and the government or the authorities need to take specific and precise measures against the owners of the dogs. If it means paying, compensating the family for life expectation or loss of life, they owners of the properties of the dogs, of course they can be called properties, they are the ones that are liable, and they need to compensate the family 100% for the loss of life. was that me who had a terrible network, or it was Chaza? I think for now we can move on to the next topic. The director, please take us to the next topic, please.
Operations at the Chunga landfill in Lusaka will never be the same again. The dump site has in the past few weeks undergone a total transformation. A perimeter fence has been built and the access roads inside the landfill have been opened up. Local Government Permanent Secretary Mambo Hamaundu has inspected the works.
We now have the perimeter wall almost around the whole landfill, which is something which was not there before. You note that if you do recollect, there was garbage even where I'm standing here, and it's a measure which is actually meant to enhance security. You also recall that sometime 6-7 months ago, we actually lost a person here, a scavenger. So we're trying to really put in place a number of mechanisms to ensure that there's safety of the public, even as we're addressing the challenge of garbage.
The contractor has assured government of quality works.
Our contract period is 16 weeks, so our contract is running up to the end of December. So we are likely to finish end of November to mid-December this year. We are on course, and we are happy with the progress so far. I think we have seen for yourselves that things are moving.
Mr. Hamaundu has also inspected the drainage works at Kulima Tower bus station.
With the replacement of the smaller culverts with bigger culverts, we expect that it will mitigate the challenge that we're facing in Kulima Tower. As you may be aware, the southern part of Kulima Tower usually would be flooded, or generally Kulima Tower would be flooded. But with the replacement of these culverts here, we expect that the flow of water will be a bit better.
Government has since implored citizens to avoid disposing of litter in the rehabilitated drainages. Lucky Piri, ZNBC News, Lusaka.
All right. Thank you so much. It's very unfortunate that my connectivity has been a challenge. I sincerely apologize, and still trying to see if it can be rectified. But it seems it's been a challenge. Let me just take it to you and just allow you to give us your reaction as regards this item that we have at hand.
It's a recommendable job that the local authorities have embarked on. And this is what we want to see. Despite the economic hardship, despite working under difficult circumstances where we have the challenges of our economy, but here we are, we see the government walking the talk. And this is where the Zambians should concentrate and focus on. The issue to do with fighting, on politicking, on issues that are irrelevant, trying to show the muscles are not going to help us, are not going to kill or prevent diseases such as cholera when the rain season comes. It is works like what the local government authority have done and with where they're employing those local contractors to prevent and make to clear out all these possible bleeding grounds of diseases. And today we see something, and this is what we've been talking about. We want to see something positive happening in our country. We don't want people to just sit in offices and enjoying their air cons and getting our money, taxpayers' money for free. We want to see results. And already in the Ministry of Local Government and Housing, we can see that things are really being done. They are doing their job as expected. And this, when we see such things, we are, as a country, we are going to really appreciate, despite other challenges in other sectors. But when we look at what you are doing as a government, you are truly walking the talk, and we need to appreciate what the government is doing. To us, it's good news, and this is what we voted you for. We want to see sanity, and we want to hear the accountability, how much money you spent over the clearing of that dumpster. How much did you spend? So that we know. We don't want to be held, to be caught unaware, or to be surprised that we hear some bills coming out, such as, like, we were caught unaware during fire tenders, where someone comes and says one second-hand fire engine cost 1 million. So we want to know how much it costed for the government to contract that contractor over that project. That is what we call transparency, and that's what we call accountability. We want to know what, maybe there could be other people that ought to have come up with cheaper quotations. So we want to know. The government should not be hiding things or doing things in secretive. This is the breeding ground. When you do things secretive, it is a breeding ground of doubts and the breeding grounds of innuendos, rumors, and people will start making their own calculations and come up with their own accusations to the government. And by the time the government comes to explain their position over the amount spent over the same project that we are putting goodies to, it will be too late. But when you are giving us the information as a government, give us the whole package. Tell us how much money you've made. Tell us how you have spent over that project. Tell us how long that project has taken. You know, that way. And so, of course, if you want to go further, you can also explain on how many people you employed, because there were people that were employed to undertake that project. That way, the people that are paying, the owners of the monies, the taxpayers people, we are kept updated, and there will be no room for propaganda. There will be no room for innuendos. There will be no room for rumors, as we are known as a country who are too much in a verge of running falsehoods and thriving on falsehood or propaganda. We don't want that. We want facts. Today, I see a lot of even other institutions, as churches, dwelling on propaganda. They are coming up with reports. So we have to be very, very careful when it comes to this. Because the government, it is the one that is giving room for such kind of, the breeding ground for such kind of innuendos and rumors and propaganda. So if you give the nation the whole package, we will never have the room of propaganda. You are actually killing the propaganda. You are actually destroying the lies, because you have given full information of what you are doing. So give us information on what is going on. What we saw, thank you. We love it. We appreciate that. But you are not finished yet. How much did it cost us as a nation to clear that dumpster? And how many people benefited in terms of employment? How many were employed? You can talk to the contractor. They can tell you the number of employees, or they may be called casual workers, but at least numbers don't lie. At least we know that our brothers and sisters were doing something at the end of the day in that particular project. If you can go on with this kind of narrative, then you are going to defeat this evil spirit perpetrated by certain groups that is trying to negate your hard-working job, your hard work, or your positive results that you are embarked on. So in that, I would simply say kudos to the government and keep up the good work, but please keep the nation updated and tell us the figures and who the beneficiaries are. Of course, the whole nation is benefiting, and prevention of cholera will be prevented. But at the same time, we want to know at least those who directly were there involved and how much was paid. That to us will be transparency, and it will be a way of eliminating abababufi. Thank you so much.
Right, thank you very much. I do appreciate, and I do agree with you that this project is really a good project. And I was thinking about it that most often, especially in our country, Zambia, we are so much criticizing what is bad and what is seemingly bad. But when we see productive things, developmental things, we keep quiet and we do fold our arms. And if it were that, bad thing, I think it could have been all over, and people could have been talking about it. All right, Himba, it's good to have you back. It was unfortunate that, lost you. From you as regards this at hand.
Thank you so much, Chaza. Thank you so much.
Okay, do you have any viewpoint concerning the clip that we are from viewing, or we make progression?
I think let's move on to the next story.
Okay, thank you so much, Himba. We do appreciate. At this point in time, you are viewing, listening, and watching Ubuntu channel, and we're bringing to you My Point of View. It's a program that we do bring to you every Saturday at 8 p.m. right here on Ubuntu channel. Feel free to join us. If you have any viewpoint, comment, or anything to contribute, you can actually leave that contribution or comment right in the comment section, or simply get to click on the link. Then you get to join us on set. Let's take a look at the next item, and we do get back right on the other side.
We welcome the decision by the government to table before Parliament the long-awaited Access to Information Bill. We recall that Access to Information Bill was originally promised by the MMD in 1991, and a draft bill was even brought before Parliament, only for it to be withdrawn, and after protracted debate for consultation with other countries which had similar legislation, the PF government of 2011 also promised an ATI Act and even produced a draft bill in 2012, but no bill was ever put before Parliament. We invite all Zambians to carefully read the latest draft to ensure that it complies with international standards.
The government is studying the pastoral letter from the Catholic bishops, and that at an opportune and earliest moment, we should be able to give a comprehensive response that will give an indication of how we have appreciated this kind of correspondence to government. So we urge all our people out there that no one should be able to respond to this pastoral letter, because it is addressed to the government, and therefore only government should be able to respond, because we find this pastoral letter, well meant, and that we are going to give a response accordingly.
There we have it. We have, a comment from the Minister of, Communication and Media there. And I wouldn't agree less with him. It is, profound to actually have, the bishops come together and get to make, such positive, observations as regards the affairs of governance. Unlike the way it has been in the recent past, where bishops are seemingly castigating, ruthlessly the government. I think this is quite progressive. Your viewpoint, Mr. Mkelebai?
Well, as the government has put it, to say it is not in any other person's interest to respond to that, and as the letter was directed to the government, that's okay. We respect the response. We respect the request from the Minister of Information, and therefore we shall not speculate as Zambian citizens. We will be waiting for the government to come up with their position, but we can only talk as in our own personal and private capacity, and our opinion on the manner in which the clergymen came out to speak out, as they claim in their pastoral letter. This has come at a time when we saw to it that certain members of parliament of a particular group of a party were suspended, and which is a thing that never happened from the previous regime, that was too brutal, that actually violated the space of freedom, the space of that shrunk the space of democracy. And we know why, and that is why Zambian people decided to even vote that party out of power. And the clergymen had nothing to say. There was no pastoral letter that we saw. There was no press briefing that we saw. Now I'm wondering what has changed. Why are these people coming so strong out, as though the space of democracy is shrinking as they purport, which is not true? Because when a certain group of people are disciplined by the authority, that does not mean the space of democracy is being shrunk. If anything, Zambia or Zambians have never seen the so-called light of democracy until this time around, when this current government that even chose to repeal a law, a deliberate law that was put in place to silence people, to mute people, that they should not say a word. An example of that law is the law of defamation of a president. That law was repealed, done away with. And did we hear anything being spoken about by the men of God? No. They never said anything about that. They never mentioned it. And did the men of God even appreciate what the efforts of the government did? No, we did not hear them. All we heard was them negating the government we could hear the men of God getting involved, being partisan, start practicing partisan politics. To me, I find the position of that, in my own opinion, get me right, as a Zambian living in the diaspora, I find the letter, the pastoral letter, to be questionable, coming at the wrong time, and being a little bit hypocritic, because the men of God, the clergymen, have not done their homework. Have they sat with the government to hear the position of the government before they draw their conclusion? Nothing of that kind has happened. They just happen to act just because they are from a religious point of view. Unfortunately, that is not the way they ought to have done things. These pastors or these bishops, they should have first and foremost, I've seen videos, clips where the pastors, the bishops are visiting the head of the nation, the head of state. What is it that they were talking about? These are issues that they ought to have asked the head of state of their position. What are you doing about this? There's shrinking in the democratic. We call this shrinking, blah, blah, blah. They hear the position of the government, but instead they are acting so emotional on impulse just because a certain group of individuals have gone to them and complained. Because what I heard in that letter was exactly the things that the opposition is crying against. Those who don't want to accept the fact that there's a rule of law, and the government and the three legislatures, the three arms of government, they are doing their jobs respectively. But what do we hear in that letter? We hear a lot of accusations with no proof, but they are just using the exact word that the opposition, who are trying to be unruly, who have an issue within their political party, and trying to smear the government, bringing the government, the speaker, everybody into their problems. To me, the pastoral letter has really, it is gone beyond politics. They have acted ultra-virusly. If they meant well, they were independent, they should have waited. They should have engaged the government respectively, either with behind closed doors, to talk about these issues. But they have not. They have not even heard the reasons to why the speaker acted in the manner in which she acted. What law did she follow? In my opinion, the speaker acted responsibly and within the mandate given by her, as she was disciplined, invoking her disciplinary act, code of conduct, onto the members of the legislature that violated the rules of the House. And by so doing, that does not mean the speaker has acted ultra-virusly or has violated the Constitution, as we heard from even learned counsel, the state councils of this world, that we claim that we get guidance and legal advice from. To me, that is political, and the pastoral letter should not have just acted at an impulse. They ought to have engaged the government before they came up with those conclusions and the letter. To me, that letter is questionable, especially when we look at the history where we have come from, especially when we hear what the so-called clergymen have spoken about the government, where they're challenging the government of their graphs when the government is explaining about the economical history, when the government, when we have heard the certain pastoral pastors, people talking about rigging the election, then you hear them coming up with no, this is our final say. We want to talk about what is currently taking place. There's a shrinking democratic space. Seriously, mwenze kuti mwema pastors, mwenze kuti mwema bishop, pamene vantu benzo paiwa magasing, mwenze kuti pamene bana ba school benzo menyewa, mwenze kuti pamene makadas benzo menya vantu nishi bavala vovala varedi bavala bichani, mwenze kuti pamene akainde ichirema na vantu vake bafuna oenda kuchipata babavalira, mwenze kuti lelo muli na mpamvu zobwera nokamba ati there's a shrinking democratic space and expressing your freedom of expression properly. Lelo mukambe ati there's shrinking of, just because Mayo Sampa and Edgar Changwalungu, they are fighting, they have an inner house fighting, then you want to rub it to the nation that they call it democratic space. Please be honest. Bantu ba Mulungu, nimwe bantu ba Mulungu, be honest. We are not stupid as Zambian. We can see through your robes what your intentions are. So that is my opinion, not the government. I don't speak for the government. I support the government, but I'm not going to speak for the government. I'm speaking in my own individual capacity. I find that letter, pastoral letter, to be questionable and stinking to high heaven. It comes with so many issues, even though you claim to mean well. I don't think you mean well, because of the history tends to repeat itself, and you are doing exactly like that. So prove me wrong, that I'm wrong, that you mean well. Otherwise, I have so much doubt. Nili nakaja ka feeling kamene kakamba kuti ati zabwino apa palibe. Aba ma pastors, ma bishop, they are up to something. So please don't confuse our respect for you and the respect to God with what we feel and how we interpret your letter. Let the government come up with their own interpretation. If the government agrees with your points, so be it. But this is my own opinion. As Mkelawai, I find your letter, your pastoral letter, questionable, and I would say it loud and clear, stinks to high heavens, the Lord himself that we pray to. And it's only him who's going to vindict us from that. I thank you.
Thank you so much. We greatly appreciate that. That is, the opinion for Mr. Mukelebai there as regards the issue at hand. Let me invite you, Himba. Let's get to hear what you have to say as regards this issue.
Chaza, thank you so much. Me, I'm not going to respond to the letter. I'm not going to react, but all I want to say is that Honorable Mwetwa, we are not going to respond to this letter because it's not directed to the Zambian people. It's directed to the head of states. But we will react in our personal capacity as Zambian citizen. The responding to the letter, will leave it to the government because it's addressed to the government. However, we are going to react as Zambian citizen. But at this moment, I'm not going to react to the content of the letter. I only have one question. Where were these bishops all this long for them just to react now? As they saying, all this time, nothing went wrong in our country. It's only now when something has gone wrong. How I wish they could answer me those questions. But for now, Chaza, I'll leave it there. Thank you so much.
All right, Himba, thank you so much. We greatly appreciate. There, goes the issue that has got so many questions, to be answered. And like they have indicated, others would rather not react, others would rather get to comment And we get to wait and listen to the government's perspective as regards the letter that was addressed to them. At this point in time, let's take a look at the next piece, and we get to meet on the other side.
Their studies have been interrupted as they are forced out of their classrooms. These are pupils at Kikombe Secondary School who had their studies interrupted owing to flooding from yesterday's downpour. And today, examination classes at the school had to be accommodated in other classrooms as 4 classrooms have been rendered inhabitable.
Some of the classrooms were abandoned. Even offices are also being flooded. It is not good to disturb our government infrastructure.
And the local authority has blamed the flooding on a backflow.
Drainage is having a backflow. The backflow is as a result of a smaller culvert that is in front of us. I think you'll be able to see it. So we have since engaged the contractor whom we worked with, that's Kasanshi Mine, who did this road and this drainage system. We have told them to mobilize tomorrow. Today they are coming to get the levels and see the expansion that they are going to have.
He says the problem will soon be worked on before the end of the week.
We noticed how our pupils are suffering. We sympathize with them, but as a caring local authority, we have urgently come in so that we quickly mend this thing. So by tomorrow we'll be able to see First Quantum Mine coming on here to expand this so that there's a good flow of water.
Government wants uninterrupted learning owing to flooding.
To ensure that government infrastructure is protected and no services is disturbed.
Lupindula Mwewa, ZNBC News, Sol.
There we have. Year in, year out. Face the issue to do with flooding, and this time around it has even gone to the disturbing of examinations. Let me invite you, Himba, to comment.
Sad, it's a sad situation, but I'm so glad that the local authorities are on the ground and they are responding to the situation as expected, which is really good. It's so sad that the kids has to go through such. They have to be disturbed during the exams, and how do we even expect the children to pass, or how do you expect the children to concentrate during the exam so that we may have good results? We regret, and it's unfortunate that such a situation has happened. However, we thank the government and the local authorities for moving in very quickly to correct the situation, Chaza. Thank you so much, and I wish all the best to the kids who are writing their exams in a very difficult circumstances. May they pass the exams.
Definitely.
I won't say much about this issue. All I can only request the town clerk of Solwezi and the acting commissioner is to keep us updated on what has transpired. You don't need to wait until there's a problem. These are issues that we've been telling you guys, that when you are in those offices, try to anticipate and resolve matters, anticipate challenges that may come in the future, and how to prevent such kind of problems when they come to pass. So when I heard the clerk of the town clerk, or is it the mayor? I think it was the town clerk. When I heard him talking about involving the mine coming in to fix the problem. My question, what was on the back of my mind was, what about the council? Don't they have a way to fix these kind of challenges that are taking place in, do they have to wait for a private investor to come in and fix these problems? So we are paying a lot of engineers in the local municipal council. We are paying a lot of people there that are just receiving our salaries. Why can't we put them to good use instead of spending more money? And at the same time, again, we are going to ask for the bill. Tell us the quotation of what you spent over this drainage system unless it was a donation from the mines that they decided to do it as their social contractual obligations to fulfill some of the social needs. But if it is you, the local authorities, that paid, we would love to know how much money you spent over that drainage system and how much money you are going to spend. Because look, here we are. We are happy to see our kids. They are sitting on the desks, and we can tell, and we should thank the government and of course you, the local authorities as well, for a job well done to see that the children are now sitting on desks during their exams. The only issues are that the certain matters, certain problems, they are unforeseen circumstances, and we can resolve them as they go, like the flood. That will not deter our kids from taking an exam. They can take the exam, but at least they have a place to sit. But at the same time, please, can you fix that problem as a matter of urgency, and so that, and you give a feedback to the nation the way you gave the feedback on when you discover the problem. Give us the same feedback as well. We don't want to wait. And of course, explain what is involved, how much money you have spent for that challenge you have made. Tell the Zambian people the figures, because we are paying too much tax. So we want to know how much is it costing the Zambian people for fixing such a drainage system. Anything that you deal with, explain to the Zambian people how much it costs. If you do not, you just want to give it as an umbrella, then you are giving a breeding ground for rumors, innuendos, propagandas, and the opposition will take charge and they will win on that area. So tell the Zambian people the figure and those who benefited and what happened to the project. That is what we call transparency. So explain. We need to know. Maybe we should start asking you, the government, about how much before you embark on a project. How much? So that we know. So we can even calculate how much we are buying milli meal price. We can even reduce the milli meal price if we know how much we are spending money onto certain things such as drainage system. Thank you.
Right. Thank you so much, Mr. Mkelebai. We do appreciate, and we have people that are following online, right, on Facebook. Let me just read out some of the comments that they have, left right in the comment section there. The first one is coming from, Chibonta Jule, who is actually saying some pets that we keep in the category of 1,000 ways to die. It's like setting a trap for yourself. Vicious animals have to be secured, and innocent people should not be at risk. Very sad situation. 13 years child killed just like that. Thank you so much, Chibonta. We greatly appreciate, and it's good to know that you are following right there through Facebook. Edith Nina Daka is saying, great show, Team Ubuntu channel. Keep it up. Thank you so much, Edith. We greatly appreciate. And Lawrence is saying he is following. He is watching there. Thank you so much. We greatly appreciate. I think for now we can move and get to take one last, piece. Then on the other side, we get to wrap up. Let's take a look at the next item.
Meat, including beef, goat and pork, going up in flame. The Livingstone City Council, working with the District Health Office and the Zambia Police, seized the meat from some butcheries and courtrooms within the district in a bid to prevent the spread of anthrax.
We have inspected about 15 premises in the district. This is around Mbita Market and Cold Storage and other places in Livingstone. During these operations, we have managed to seize about 6 quarters of beef and 5 heads, as well as 10.8 kg of goat meat and 37.8 kg of pork. These seized meat were not inspected by the local authority. They just found themselves on the market.
The exercise is not stopping anytime soon.
This is sending a warning to all those that are trading in meat that the council is on the ground. They need to do the right thing. Before they sell any meat, they are supposed to come, their meat is supposed to be inspected. But there are those that they are smuggling meat into the butcheries without the knowledge of the council. So we won't allow that. So all the marketplaces, all the butcheries, and all the courtrooms are under inspection. And this will be done every day. We used to caution members of the public not to buy meat that they don't know. They need to maybe buy from non-dealers.
The Livingstone University Teaching Hospital currently has in admission 4 anthrax cases. Ajo Aveme, ZNBC News in Livingstone.
It's a story of a T-bone, gone to destruction, I would say. The diseases are rampant, and in most places we have pieces of meat that are actually are affected, and consequently it is being passed on to people out there, which is hazardous. Himba, your reaction?
Chaza, thank you so much. I've followed about the whole disease and how it is very, very dangerous to human beings. All I would say is that as the public, let us be vigilant to what kind of meat we are eating, where it is coming from. Let's see to it that it's the correct kind of meat we are eating. And we also appeal to the local authorities to go around and sensitize all the citizens from all angles of the community, because this disease, ichokakuli beef, and you know how beef is eaten everywhere in the country. And if we won't handle this matter aggressively or viciously, we are going to lose a lot of lives, because it has already affected a lot of people. So to the community, twilali afye nameyo twasanga, twilali emichopo yo twasanga, kwali baba mwabebe ng'ombe, tabashipima, tashala siwo umuti to prevent the diseases. We are actually killing ourselves. Twilala ndati twalali afye, fya sanga abantu, twala fuilamo ifyakaele. So for me, I would say this is on individual level. As the government is making their efforts to sensitize, let us also take extra caution as human beings and look after ourselves. Thank you so much, Chaza.
Right, thank you so much, Himba. Mr. Mkeleba, your viewpoint, many a times that the business say that let's leave health without a prescription. You know, there are times that you'll be told to say, do not eat meat because of probably gout, so on and so forth. And, you know, I read an article which says when you reach 40, you need to be cautious what you eat. You reduce on red meat. Your reaction, Mr. Mkelebai?
Thank you so much, Chaza. I'm going to speak in my mother tongue because Livingstone, that's my hometown. And I have so many families there. And I know that their meat is coming from Sesheke, Mulobezi, Machile, all that area, Walingulia, all that area, Malabwe, name them. But I'm going to Ngwezi and Makunka. We want to tell you something, Banabaisu, Banabasilozi, Banabapoensu. Amuka fumani wa nimolatu wakuli kimi na aba eze supply likom ze kula ze nani butuku wa anthrax. Mukatamiwa bakensa kuli mubulaya batu. Nimi na bama Livingstone, bali vingi. Musike mwa ichela fera nama, bakensa kuli chipire, bakensa kuli muzivi, bakensa kuli ibonahala, fera mwa meto amina, ibonahala kukena. Mwameto akimi na ma doctors amuvize wa muso bataye batotali mafama batoeza examine likomzamina na mayomba takuchayo na aziba kuli munani mali minaba munani mashereni makukwanisa kuleka likomu makona kwanisa kuchanama from 1 to 30 kono nako kuna ni butuku bobutile obulaya batu. Anthrax aibulaifera likomu ibulaya ni batu chwala mukafumane hakuli mina kimina abana ni butata babaeza supply likomu zena ni butuku zemweza supply mimwa hana kuli muise likomu zyo kwa kutatubiwa mutofumane hakuli mina kimina babaeze supply likomu zyo zena ni butuku amukatamiwa musike mwatongokera bomanka pa mutu usiri kimina ababulaya batu chwele mutu akashwa kimina bakafumane yani mulatu nyamuka ya mwakuta mwani musike mwalika ni kubizalo yabe kweza kuli you are wasting your time akuli mubulaile batu muhanire kuisa likomuzamina kwa kutatubiwa kona alumi bulera kuli muise likomuzamina ze mutisa zeo kwa hae zezo kai ko zitatubiwe kuli azika fitamwa butchery mwani zitatubiwe kale nama yamina kiende ikenire aina butuku kuli kale kulekisiwa kuli baeze distribute kwa batu kona taba yamusona kuziba fatenieo kona kuli amukatamiwa musike mwabule yakuli mawe banitoire fera bamuso wa UPND balutoire kimina benye abayitisereza bakensa kuli muhanire kuisa likomuzamina kwa kutatubiwa amuise likomuzamina kwa kutatubiwa zakula amuise likomuzamina kwa kutabiwa.
You have said so many. I don't know if you are going to interpret. It looks like you have forgotten that you know you need to interpret.
Basically, what I was trying to say, my brother, is that I was trying to appeal to my brothers and sisters that they should do allow the local authorities to test the production of meat, especially the meat, because knowing that the meat is coming from areas of Mulobezi, Sichili, Machile, the Sesheke district, all the areas in Sesheke, and some of the southern province, you know, Ngwezi, all these Makunka, all those areas in southern province and western province. So I said to them to say, do not regret when the authority pounce on you, find that you have been trying to sell meat illegally that has diseases, and when you are arrested and prosecuted, do not blame the government that you are being persecuted. You've done this to yourself because you are trying to avoid to take your animals for testing. So basically, that's what I was trying to say in a nutshell. Otherwise, Livingstone people, be careful. You are the consumers. You are the ones with the money. As you are buying your meat, make sure that there's a certificate from the local authority, health cares, that would simply show that the meat you are buying, you're about to consume, is certified as ready for consumption, and note that it hasn't gone through the control. Those that want shortcut, I promise you are going to have a shortcut also to life. You want to buy meat that is cheap, that has not been examined, you find yourself Kungwerere or kwa Matutaeti in the mortuary or in the. So be careful what you are buying, what you are giving or feeding your family. The meat, if it's cheaper, ask yourself, is this meat free from anthrax? Anthrax is a very deadly disease that can eliminate the whole Livingstone in 1 second. So be careful when you hear the authority telling you, do not consume untested meat and healthy meat. Please adhere to the authorities. This is a warning which you may be surprised. And when you die, don't point at the old man, your next neighbor, as a Muloi or Indosh that has lowered you. You have lowered yourself because you have ignored the simple instructions. So there's nothing about devil, Muloi. It is you who wants to be ignorant and ignore the signs from the local authorities. So be careful, Itumes. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. We do appreciate. And I think I have one more comment from, this time around is YouTube. This one is coming from Janet Manjanela, who is actually saying, HH will never be loved by crooks like those bishops and others with crooked man, because he is a straightforward man. Thank you for your comment there. We do appreciate. Remember that this program is designed for you people to actually add your voices to the stories that we do give you right here on the program called My Point of View. That being said, we do appreciate those of you that have been following through social media platforms like YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and so on and so forth. My, partner as usual, Mr. Mukelewai, not forgetting Himba. You've been great right here. Himba has fallen off due to connectivity. Despite that, she's been there, she's been good. I greatly appreciate. My name is Chaza right here, Ubuntu channel, My Point of View. Till next time, God bless.
Okay, we are done.